chief dismisses me barely an hour later, sending me off with nothing but a light pat and another sorry expression. I'm not entirely sure if that's supposed to be reassuring. There's plenty more to do, a lot of people to call and tell, and all of it falls on me. No matter how awful the news they bring will be, it'll be better if this comes from a person his family and friends know. Still, my body refuses any notion of movement. The thought of telling Isabella about this? She'll definitely be devastated. I don't even want to imagine what his grandparents will say. They're good, kind, warm-hearted people who has given me another family even without me asking for it. They welcomed me, invited me every time, easily reminded me of what having a whole home feels like. I thought I'd already forgotten it. Zach's older sister will definitely show up in my apartment, though. Ring my doorbell and punch me as soon as I open the door, just like the last time. She's right. I'm the kind of person who brings nothing but trouble. She's known all along that Zach should have stopped hanging out with me, warned him several times. Zach has often laughed her concerns off. I used to think it's because he enjoys the friendship as much as I do, despite a huge part of it going unspoken between us throughout the years. Now he's dead. Another one. Another person brutally taken from me. I thought I had more time. I thought he'd be safe. I acted too late. And in the deafening silence of my car, the only thing I'm able to do is close my eyes, rest my forehead against the cold surface of the steering wheel, and scream. Scream until my throat bleeds raw. Aw. I think he might actually take Zach's death the hardest. Poor Zach. No. Scream until my lungs burn. Scream until all that remains are the guilt and the tears. Okay, so this time I go back to the pub because Bella's here now. The sun hangs lower when I drive back to the pub and drag myself inside, still too unsure how to break the news. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He has always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on week start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover, after all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too odd. With the kind of danger we're in and after what happened to Zach, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before I can fully process and analyze the scene in front of me.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you, might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
What is she doing? Another question forms in my head along with a small, confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, he gestures his head on the far side of the main lounge. Isabella has settled on one of the tables set in a corner, in deep thought and with a scowl on her face. From the looks of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement. Can you blame the poor girl? Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes as it occasionally flickers over Isabella. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Not that I know how. I don't even know what put her in such a bad mood. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, no people in sullen moods, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing.
Alright.
Go fix it before it turns into something chaotic.
She's just brooding. Let her brood. Get her a drink. I don't know. It's probably not as petty if Isabella's already in that state, but I give him a nod nevertheless. All I can think is that she's mad that she woke up and Ash just left her here.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving. Doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for people he barely even know. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm. There's a strange lull in this area of the pub. People continue to trickle out instead of in, and this time only 2 tables remain occupied. Soon these people too will be gone, and the whole place will be devoid of anyone. Frankly, its current state already lends the place an entirely different vibe. Along with the soothing strum of strings and the steady beat of drums playing overhead, there's a calming sense to this. A far cry from times I've been here before. And perhaps it's for this reason why Isabella has chosen this place to retreat. You call that a scowl? Girl's just thinking is all. She sits quietly in the furthest corner of the room, and one of the tables sit right beside the windows. G usually keeps the curtains close around this hour, but a small portion of it has been pulled back, revealing the busy streets outside. The late afternoon light spills right through it, outlining her small form and pulling on the surface of the table where both her arms rest. In her hand, she flips a piece of folded paper, turning it from one side to the other without any purpose. The letter. A small frown creases her forehead while she stares at it. Yet there's something oddly tranquil in the picture she has unknowingly painted. Something I can't bring myself to disturb, if only for a few seconds. Man, the difference between the scene when we walk in and G's like, girl about to flip over there, and then we're like, she's so tranquil as she's lost in thought. It's just like, ha! It's one of those moments again. The rare ones. The one where she's too still, too quiet. A complete opposite of her usual self. But it's these that often leave a mark. Not her cheery disposition or her lively attitude, but these short few seconds of wordless silence, when the softest sighs and the slightest movements sing louder. The smallest, minuscule things that tell you about the person and her strength more than any words can express. It's these that carve a vivid memory, no matter how brief it lasts. And it breaks soon enough the second I pry the letter off her hands and flop down on the empty seat next to her. She glares at me, annoyed, and just like that, all of it melts away. Gone is the stillness, replaced quickly by the teasing and friendly jibes. Back again to what we're used to. What's easy, what's familiar, where every truth we hope to convey, regrettably, goes unsaid between us.
You're going to destroy an important piece of evidence if you keep doing that, Belle.
This time, however, no retort comes from her. Without the letter to glare daggers at, she turns on her hands now clenched tight in front of her. But she's far from angry. A bit upset, maybe? Who wouldn't be? This curse has already gone far too long. Has already taken one too many people from us. Regardless, Isabella doesn't seem like she'll start shouting at me. At least compared to every other people I've aggravated, intentional or otherwise. Some light talk may just do the trick and coax her out of this mood.
Come on. If you keep staring at the table like that, you're going to bore a hole on it. I really don't want to owe G a new table. He'll pick the most expensive one and leave me begging on the streets.
She levels a quick glance at me, her expression dry and impassive enough to drain every color out of the room. It's as if I've just told her a terrible joke and she's expecting there'll be more of it. Really now? She needs to give me more credit than that. My jokes are funny when I want them to be.
I really don't care. I'd even take pictures and post them online. Go away, Ash. I don't want to talk right now.
Yet it sounds half-hearted at best. Like what's happening has already sapped every bit of energy in her, and all that's left are the words. Pretty soon, those too will lose their meaning and leave a hollow shell in their wake. It's already unusual to see her like this. Everything has already gone to shit. I'd like at least this one thing to stay normal. So somehow we manage. We continue for the better half of the hour, talking, joking, with her short, feeble responses and banter that never goes anywhere. But it's enough. In the grand scheme of things, amidst the chaos and death shadowing over us, It's these little inconsequential moments that matter. You are gonna tell her about Zach, though, right? It's her smile, her laughter, when it finally rings, easy and free of her burdens.
Okay, I have another one.
I don't want to hear it, Ashton. Go away.
No, really, listen. I know someone who talks like an owl.
This is pretty good.
Will you leave me alone if I bite and ask who?
A pause. And then she frowns as realization slowly dawns on her. Confusion flashes fleetingly across her face before eventually settling on a grimace.
Oh.
Suddenly, she hugs her arms closer to herself and looks away, perhaps in her best attempt to stay angry. To no avail. In a matter of seconds, her shoulders shake with laughter she's trying to contain.
You're awful, and I really hate you. Just leave.
You don't. It's contagious, her mirth. Soon I'm joining her in it, briefly forgetting every problem that has piled up and continues to weigh down on us. Laughing without reservation or care, until only a familiar warmth lingers, once both our amusement ebbs away. Somehow with her, these things have always come easy.
Feeling better?
A little. You're still lame.
But you're laughing right now.
Only because your humor is terrible.
Right. Keep telling yourself that. I know it's funny. And you know what? If you've kept frowning like that, your face might have cracked.
And it's over.
That would have been really messy and ugly.
It's really over. If glares can kill, with the one she sends my way, I'll probably be dead right by now. Seeing it directed my way, it takes only a few quick seconds for me to realize how she might have also taken my statement. How wrong and rude it might have sounded in her ears, however unintentional it is. I've never been good with words, but that's never an acceptable excuse, is it? Suddenly, taking the brunt of her anger seems less complicated than correcting or explaining myself. Nevertheless, I try.
What? God, crap.
Ah.
Damn it, that was so not what I meant. I was just saying you look better when you're smiling.
Her glare doesn't even wane. In fact, I think it intensified, like the brewing storm. In the face of it, under the sharpness of her stare and her annoyance, I do what any person with a good sense of self-preservation does. Keep my mouth shut and shift my attention elsewhere. The crowd outside looks very interesting today. Maybe I should...
Thanks, Ash.
She utters all of it in a voice too small, too quiet. But when I turn to her, only those words, her gratitude, resonate throughout the whole room. Not the soft clanking of silverware somewhere, nor the last strains of music fading into silence above us. Instead, it's the meaning behind her gaze as she holds mine that lingers. Steady, unflinching, and open, in the same way she looked at me all those years ago, with bright eyes and an expression softening into a tender smile. I didn't understand it then. How easy it is for her to wear her heart on her sleeve. How she never shies away from expressing herself, even among people she barely knows. How she can go through everything without losing herself. Now it's among the hundreds, the thousands that hang unspoken between us. Trivial little things with worth still too big to put into words. Either because it's too early, or because there's never really a proper time. For now, though, this'll do. Until the moment itself dwindles. Until reality pulls us back in, reminding us of the things we've set aside in its favor.
What was that about earlier? You look like you're about to wage war on that letter.
Oh, it's nothing. You probably won't like it when you hear it.
Maybe. You haven't said anything yet, so how am I supposed to decide how to react?
A small frown returns to her face. Although it lacks the same anger from just a few minutes ago, the bitterness stays. Now there's also uncertainty. It takes another minute until she speaks again. This time she doesn't meet my eye.
I was just thinking... Maybe we should go back to the mansion.
Blood freezes in my veins. Immediately, before I can even think further on what to say, my mouth's moving, a disapproval ready at the tip of my tongue.
Isabella, you know that's...
I know, Ash. I just thought we'd find something in there.
Oh, you will.
That if I go back, we'll get the answers we need. I found the letter there, so maybe, right?
It's not that I don't agree with her. Hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have, after all, but it's not going to be a simple walk in the park. Who knows what we might find in there? If I bring her with me, I won't be able to guarantee her safety. She'll be in even greater danger. Hence, alone. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'm doing it on my own. Whether she agrees with this plan is inconsequential. With Zach and Rebecca gone, her well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag her in there with me. So I tell her as much, despite the determination and desperation in her eyes. Anything to keep her safe. I can't let you be hurt, Bella.
I can't let you do that, Belle.
Nice.
Ash, the people living in that place now. They were with me during the open house. They have to know. They're in as much trouble as we are.
I know, but it's risky. It's dangerous. We don't know what you might find in there. Or if you'll even find anything. What if you see her again? What if she goes after you? What are you going to do? For all we know, it might be a dead end. It's not worth it. To put yourself in harm's way like that.
Belle, Zach won't be with us anymore. And if you...
This is how you tell her. The words won't form, and my throat closes up as soon as I see the look of utter grief in her. There was supposed to be a speech, damn it! Yet I can't bring myself to continue, much less say all those words that carefully picked just for this. So it won't shock, so it'll hurt less. Especially her, who has always seen Zach as that decent older brother she never had, as family. Meh. The way her expression shifts from terror to disbelief, then to anguish, makes the horrible lump in my throat feel more unpleasant. There's a sorrow in it, palpable enough as the meaning of what I said sinks in. A pain I can't even hope to understand. One that we'll all deal with in our own ways. I can't even bring myself to look her straight in the eye. She offers no response, not even a form of resistance. No further argument like I've come to expect from her. She doesn't even shed a single tear. Uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin, till the air in the whole room grows heavy. What was your relationship like with Zach when we finished it? Yeah, pretty good. In front of her, her hand still stays curled up, like it's holding on to everything she wishes to say but can't. I like to think that, yes, to some extent she understands, even if she does not entirely agree with me. The dilemma's clear in her. Otherwise, her scowl wouldn't have a deeper set to it. Her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hand would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed that argument if she doesn't, and I know she has no lack of things to say. Instead, she simply offers a nod. An acquiesce. And in a moment of boldness, perhaps insolence, I reach out for her, taking her clenched fists in mine and drawing them closer to me. She sucks in a breath, soft and sharp, but doesn't say anything, merely watching as both my hands cradle hers. Cautious, mindful, as if it's the most precious thing I've held. Then again, maybe it is. Along with everything I've yet to convey.
Stop that.
Surprisingly, although the gesture has startled her, she yields. Allows a touch that is far too familiar and more than what I'm willing to give most.
You're going to hurt yourself if you keep doing that.
Gently, I unfurl her fingers, flattening out each digit against my palms. Her nails have already created small dents on her skin from how tightly she has held it close. A little more and she would have drawn blood. Deep as it is, smoothing a thumb over the tiny marks does nothing. But it's a small gesture we both find comfort in amidst this chaos, and all at once the tension lifts. Her expression softens, the lines of her shoulders ease, and it is only after her lips curve up in a faint smile that I let go, giving her hand one last squeeze before returning it to her. Part of me wants to tell her, admit that it's exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do, though? I do intend to tell G before leaving tonight. He has to know if he's going to be keeping an eye on her for me. One person is already enough, however. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least of where I'm heading off to, in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. I do wonder if Bella's gonna show up and save Ash from, Johann's again. I kind of am expecting her to, but... in my own words, risky. It's best that I simply leave it as it is for now. Isabella doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I've already said enough. With a light, reassuring tap on her shoulder, I stand up. At the same time, footsteps shuffle from the pub's entrance, and cheerful chatter suddenly fills the room as a group of people enters. It's all the distraction I need. No Becca to make up with this time. He explained why it wouldn't be a good idea, and she eventually acquiesced. Muttering an excuse and flashing Isabella a quick smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave her on her own, despite the troubled look she shoots me. Before Isabella can say what she's been mulling over. Before the last imploring glance she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory. One that spurs the conscience, among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Alright. Can I skip now? Not yet. There's no Becca to confess to me, though. Galloway Shaw's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight. With the lively music and chatter, slipping out, mostly unseen, becomes a piece of cake. Without much trouble, soon enough I find myself standing outside under the chilly Luxburn night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I step out, carrying the telltale smell of an impending rain. I'll give it about an hour or two before it starts. From the looks of it, tonight will be another downpour. Maybe even stronger than the one we've had this morning. On instinct, I hunch further into my jacket, hugging its thick material closer to my body while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. The letter crinkles in my pocket with each step I take, though I pay it no mind as I hurry towards my car. I've nicked it minutes ago from Isabella's belongings on my way out. If this is all connected, I need this damn piece of paper with me. However ridiculous it sounds, I'm quite sure it won't be missed either, but I can't waste time here and wait for her to find out, can I? 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. And it does. In the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Okay. How... What is the teleporting technology at play here? Becca already was kind of like, alright, I mean, maybe... But, like, how long did it take for him to get his way out of there? He left her at the table, left. And she's like, yeah, I'm waiting by your car. Alright. Isabella turns just as I near, her mouth curving up in a small smile. She offers no greeting except for a shy tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless. Merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up at the starless sky when I come up to stand beside her. Another gust of wind blows as she breathes out a sigh, weary, thick with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away while she hugs her arms closer to herself to keep warm. Which raises the question why she's out here. The air is already heavy with the promise of rain. With clouds obscuring the view, there's really nothing left to look at but a dark blanket of nothingness. Still, she stands here as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That or she's here for some other reason.
Belle, I can't bring you with me.
I know. I won't ask you to.
Okay.
Go back inside. G will keep an eye on you while I'm gone. You can trust him.
Don't worry. I will. In a while. I just want a bit of fresh air.
Well, don't stay out there too long. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I give her shoulder a reassuring squeeze before walking past her and heading to my car. No, 2 steps further, though, something pulls the back of my jacket, catching the fabric in a firm grip and halting my movements.
Isabella, I need to go.
Are you gonna confess to him before he leaves? She refuses to meet my eyes, but her hold remains tight. There's a worried crease between her eyebrows, and her lips quiver ever so slightly when she speaks. In a small voice, brimming with a different kind of desperation I can't quite place.
Rebecca's gone. Zach too.
She draws in a breath, Soft, slow, lined with enough sorrow that it hitches.
And if that thing takes you, too.
The rest of it falters, but the meaning, the gravity in each of her words rings loudly above the passing breeze, hanging over us, lingering in between. A small little thing that spurs me into silence, like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form. Not even a single coherent thought. And so in place of it, in place of everything untold and we've taken for granted, I draw her in. Gently, quietly, pulling her against me until my arms settle around her shoulders.
Ash?
For a fleeting second, she freezes, startled, and looks up to me with hesitation and a silent question in her eyes. Whatever answer she finds in mine, eventually she allows this. Aw, no picture of this one, that's sad. She folds herself into me, buries her face into my shoulder, and settles her arms on my sides, unsure, uncertain.
It'll be over soon. I'll figure it out. I'll find a way to get us out of this. But no matter what happens, I want you to promise that you will stay alive until then.
I got her, Ash.
Because if I lose you to her as well, I have no idea what else would keep me grounded.
When all has been said and done, I rest my forehead against hers, eyes closed and simply taking in her warmth. Desperation still clings, woven into every breath, every sigh. But at the heart of it is this. Her. Did you draw it in my journal at least? Yay! Yay! I'll take it. Ashton left for the mansion at nightfall. But when he got to his car, he found Isabella waiting for him. Although she had no intention of stopping him, she revealed a fear of losing more people in her life. Before leaving, he admitted the same fears, but promised her that it will be over soon. Yeah, it will be. No words are said even as we part. But I let this be the last thing I commit to memory before slipping inside my car and driving off. Am I skipping now? I am. Alright, a lot of this should be the same.
Someone's dead because of you.
Someone? A whole lot of someone. What the heck? Alright, I think that's all the same. Alright, let's continue.
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
How does it feel, I wonder, to know you're responsible for all of this? For their deaths?
What do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still trying to fix this?
Leave me alone, Ghost.
Oh, but you can't. It's already too late, and you know that. You know all of this is futile.
Just face it, Ashton Frey. You're a failure, and they are the ones who have to pay for it.
A badge and a gun, and you still can't protect your own friends. Can't even solve a case for an old man.
Can't even bring Luke right to justice.
Can't even keep his own family together. No wonder they left you. Before you do the same thing to them.
Mom and Dad are better off without little old you, aren't they? It's a good thing they had the sense.
Pitiful, isn't it? Some detective you are. Some friend you are. Some son you are. You might as well just throw that rank away. You're no use to people either way.
Shut it!
Alright, if you guys have nothing good to say, I'm gonna try and skip you. Haha. Be skipped, ghosts. Mocking. I have people waiting for me. I really don't want to think what might happen. Sometimes it's best if I simply revel in the little victories. They're great blessings when everything else is going against you. And in a place like this fraught with unknown dangers, it's a feeling that lasts only but a second. So if Bella does come, she won't have the taser. She shouldn't. But she might have the rolling pin. Suddenly a sob. Let's go find her. Oh, Charlotte, Charlotte. There you are. Ah. So the taser falls. gets kicked. Maybe not under the bed this time? And so Bella can still grab it. The taser clipped to my belt is the next thing to go the moment I'm down. The sound of it sliding roughly against the wooden floor somewhere grates against my ears along with my labored breathing. Well, sorry, Johans. The next thing I know, a piece of cloth is closing around my neck. Without warning, my attacker pulls. Tight. I'm left gasping, choking, and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me as I still try to fight him off and loosen the pressure on my neck. I'll see if I can skip again.
This, on top of the madam's body missing from the morgue, the bratwurst's in for a real surprise when he wakes up.
What? Hannah Wright? A corpse? Missing? It must have been after I left earlier.
Let go, you asshole.
Now, Dummkopf, you're in no position to be rude. Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other people's homes.
Okay. Now she got it. She must have picked it up from where this bastard kicked it off earlier. Should have kicked it under the bed, Johans. Where else could she have gotten one? I doubt she has ever used one, even. Hell, the way she holds it right now, this guy can easily disarm her in one hit. But there's something in her eyes. Although there's a look of fear in them and her hand shakes, she keeps the weapon trained and pointed at Scumbag's lackey. You got this, Bella.
If your bartender friend hadn't slipped up, no one would have known where you went.
Gee, I had faith in you.
Belle, one person knowing is enough. Any more than that, and...
You almost died! He could have suffocated you right then and there, and you could have died. And by the time anyone ever finds out, you're already fertilizer!
Alright.
I'm still here, Ash. You have me.
I do. Roar! Never alone. Never again. Yay! Good. Ultimate heartbreak incoming.
We were just in the attic, right?
Alright, it's just you and me, girl. For a little while. Thanks for saving me from torture. No.
That door was supposed to open to a hallway. The second floor hallway.
Without warning, the door behind us slammed shut. We both exchange a look. One that I absolutely don't like.
We need to get out of here.
Screw right. I need to get her out of here. Lucky we're in the kitchen and we have two ways out. The back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door. As if something has locked it firmly on the other side. Isabella also gives it a few tries, but even then it won't open. There's a long bout of silence in which we simply look at each other, likely sharing the same thoughts. We're trapped. Something or someone has intentionally led us here. Fuck. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Blood. Alright. Shifting mansion time. In every nook and cranny, over every surface and in every inch of the floor. This time, unlike the first one I've seen, it remains, and gradually the whole room begin to reek of that familiar metallic scent. Sharp, suffocating. I wonder if I can skip it all. Yep, I can.
She will eventually die because of you.
Oh, they're using Bella against him now.
And you are going to die alone.
Shut your fucking mouth.
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
Okay. We'll see. I'll save Bella.
Why are you doing this?
Mmm.
Just please. Don't you love me?
Or maybe it's all just a show? A taste of what we will eventually be? Souls forever held captive in a never-ending nightmare?
Mother. I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. I can still her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Okay. Briefly, Isabella hesitates mid-climb and looks back at me, eyes asking for some sort of a confirmation from me.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Surprisingly, she follows without any protests. Not that there's any need to. Sometime after entering this room, the whole place has calmed down. No wails, no whispers, just a silence too deafening. But I'm not letting my guard down until she's on the other side of this nightmare, safe. For all I know, this may just be a calm before another storm. Without further incident, however, Isabella makes it to the other side, and I'm following after her. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains, though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me, or how easy everything has been after living through that nightmare, fleeting as it is. But for some reason, something's still nagging at me. Okay. So he's only going to use Bella as a hostage this time. It's sight enough to lodge a painful thorn up my throat. I've been too complacent. Too focused on other things that I've completely set aside the fact that Scumbag will not be too pleased to see us here without knowing our reasons. But even with those, good intentions, curses, and ghostly apparitions aside, we're still trespassing in his home. The question is, if he's even aware that the whole of his household has somehow disappeared and he might be the only one here. Likely not. Fuck. Even with someone he knows, there's a significant effort in him not to simply shoot her.
And really, Lily, even you.
Sir, this isn't what you're thinking. Something's going on in this mansion.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please what?
We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I always consider pressing lighter charges if it's a woman I have to deal with in court.
Grand.
Can't say the same for feathers here, though. But really now, I swear, people need to stop breaking into my house! This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Casually, he waves the handgun at her as if it's just a mere toy, and his words are no threat. The safety's off on his. Nothing stopping him from pushing through with his words. Call me paranoid, but at the slight gesture I draw my own and level it at him, finger on the trigger and ready to release the safety catch in case things go south. Alright. And we're at a standstill. Well, Bella, I'm sorry for what you're about to see.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
Damn. I don't think twice. Within the span of a heartbeat, I'm moving and pulling on the trigger. 2 shots in quick succession echo across the whole foyer, and both hit their mark true. Wright recoils with a sharp cry of pain. His pistol falls useless to the floor with a loud clank, followed by drops of blood from his bleeding wrist.
Why, you insolent!
He's down in 2 successive steps when I tackle him on the floor, pinning him hard with my arm. Although before I can knock him out with a solid right hook, an agonized wail bursts through the tense air, loud enough to echo along the dark, empty halls of the mansion. Piercing enough for every occupant in the foyer to cover their ears and close their eyes. Then, all at once, there are images. Here we go again. Can I skip now? Nope. Bearing down on me with the weight of its accompanying emotions like they are my own. Some are merely vague, blurry shapes, while the others display vividly. All from a time long gone and a life that was never mine. Over and over, along with every voice, every whisper, they shout, they cry, they wail, all asking for respite from an eternal torment. However, there's no time to make sense of all of it. Amidst the discord and the noise, something whizzes past by. Too close, too swift. A brief, keen blur that barely registers in my eyes. Like an arrow quickly finding its mark and heading straight for...
Isabella!
Oh, she was gonna take out Bella. Time slows to a stop. In one moment of clarity, my body moves on its own, heart pounding hard against my ears, blood rushing through every vein. Spurred only by adrenaline, in a desperate bid to reach her crouched, unsuspecting form, and I don't even get to yell for her a second time. I don't even get to call her name.
Ashton!
Ugh. And he took it like a champ. An acute pain burst through my chest in the next instant. All of a sudden, everything around me feels too sharp. Every edge, every point. Even the act of drawing a deep breath alone stings and burns my lungs, while an intense ache slowly spreads throughout my whole body. Numb. I feel numb. A hand comes away bleeding, shaking, while I can only let out a wet, ragged laugh. Soon, without warning, I'm going down on my knees, and the whole world is pitching sideways. An arm, warm and welcoming, is on me the second I stumble back, catching my fall. Aww, she's with him. Well, you didn't die alone this time, Ashton. Oh. Not wanting to risk anything, Ashton quickly disarmed Luke in 2 shots. But before he could move to tackle him, a wail echoed throughout the mansion. In the haze of memories and voices, he noticed something fly by, rapidly heading towards Isabella. His body moved on its own. Isabella has always been warm, after all.
Ash?
Her hands are shaking, her lips are quivering, while she looks at me with wide, fearful eyes. Tears have started to form at their corners, threatening to spill at any moment, and a pang of regret hits me at the sight of it.
Ashton!
To a sudden end. Even for the last time, I can't even give her a reason to smile.
Hey, you're crying again. Don't give me that look. I told you, it doesn't suit you.
Cautiously, despite the stabbing ache shooting up at every movement, I reach a trembling hand to wipe them away. Crying has never looked good on her, after all. My arm never makes it far, however. Midway, she meets my hand, catching it in a light grip, as if she's all too afraid I might break. Though I already am. Just slowly. The pain is easing. Everything's going cold.
Shut up, Ash! Don't move, alright? Stop talking! We'll get you a doctor! Someone! Just stay put! Just stay put, okay? You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I'd like to agree with that on her. Reassure her. But I've gone through a lot, survived a lot of shit. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that I'm done for. Whatever hit me, a hole to the chest is fatal enough. I don't think I'm going to bounce back from this. I'm dying.
I'm sorry.
I should be afraid in this moment. Yet I'm not. No fear. No dread. Just an acceptance. And a deep regret as she appears before us, her voice echoing throughout the foyer. There's my glitched out CG again. At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands, pale as death, an expression eerily calm. A cold chill runs up my spine at the sight. The woman just lingers there, a poor mimicry of life, a chilling smile on her face. Without a doubt, it's her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. Here, there's only a whispered sigh, a fading breath, and a lone heart that beats hard one last time. She got one thing wrong, though. Aww. I did not die alone. Man, that got me. Ugh. Dang it all. I've been got. Hooray, memory fragment. Okay. Well, a lot of Luke's chapters should be basically the same until that scene. There will be something different when Ash comes to the mansion, though, because he doesn't go through the whole torture stuff. But a lot of this should just be the same. Oh, that's interesting. A little bit different there. I guess because I slept with him as Marianne. Okay. Even in a stranger's bed, I always have someone to warm me up. Mint, or Rochelle, any other woman I end up in the sheets with. And I make sure I always leave first, never wanting to wake up and find myself alone again. Alright, interesting. A wee bit of a difference there. Poor Marianne. Okay. So now we're gonna find Zach. Trespassing. There he is. Getting him in trouble. Then we go to the... okay, this will be different too. Because she threw water on you. Deserved. And a lot more besides that was deserved. Yeah. I would be much happier if the troubles life threw at me didn't include ruining my suit. Life, in this case, is that estate agent Lily, who had the audacity to throw water at me.
You bloody...
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, sir.
Who even does that? That third world country woman who's gotten too big for her britches. That's who. Damn. This is a Zyton X5, and this whole ensemble cost me 40,000 pounds. I could charge her for water damages to the tie alone and have her begging down on her knees for my forgiveness. That Lily girl, really now. If I hadn't heard that the company she works for is closing, I'd talk to her manager and have her fired. A graceful exit into the police chief's room was all I could muster in the face of such insult. My mood is further soured by the fact that I can still see the rest of the precinct from here. At the very least, Johans is making himself useful and standing outside the door to make sure no one enters unannounced. And now, here I am, dabbing a handkerchief at my wet suit, to no avail. It'd have to be given to one of the maids to clean as soon as I get home. This is just horrible. The interlining is going to pucker and pull. Ugh. But at least it's not wine, I suppose.
I'm so sorry about what happened out there, mates.
No, you're not.
But you know how it is with these officers. All testosterone and ranking.
Well, you need to learn how to keep your men in line better, mate. But I didn't come here to talk about these hot-headed daft villains. They could be dead from the neck up for all I care.
Alright. Now that the water incident is over, we can move on with our lives. Hi, Takako. Always a pleasure to see you creeping me out. Okay. Halloween Day. Most of today should be, the same. Hi, Kylie. I don't think I did anything drastic enough this time to save you from your fate yet again. So I'm not gonna watch that. Because I don't wanna see it. Okay, so all those scenes were the same, the memories. Good, good. Alright. Early morning, November 1st. Okay. Not going to torture anybody this time. Following the incident with Ashton Frey and Isabella Santos, Luke Wright met with Inspector Lee. Oh, there's still more on this one? Wish I could go a little faster. Okay. Okay. I think that's all the same. We're good. And another peasant managed to break into this house just the other day. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? I'm fairly certain Shrokin won't just enlist their help just for the power outage, only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak, but I doubt that man is an opportunist. I'm holding the lives of his family in my hands, after all. He knows what I am capable of doing. He's not stupid enough to do anything that'll endanger them and save only himself. So where, then? Only my footsteps echo along dark passage, and I am left gripping the handle of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, and with the storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth to it. Some. If I'm reaching and wish to entertain myself for a bit, I'll say there might also be ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come of allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me one after another. Especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. Alright. So we caught up pretty quickly. As expected. Alright. Okay. Though it's dark, the large windows illuminate the area much more easily than any of the other rooms, and from where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out her form. Recognize her, even. It's all gone crazy when another intruder come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair. But Lily, the estate agent? She doesn't seem the sort. To top it all off, she has the nerve to look surprised when I announce my presence.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers, what is wrong with the people of this city? Did they really think I'll be fine with them walking into my home like this? What is she even doing in here? If I didn't know any better, she might also be behind Hana's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
She must have a motive.
Make them pay.
And it better be a good one.
For all the wrong they've done to us.
Or a bullet to the head is the least she will deserve. I don't make a habit of harming women, of course, but this is just crossing the line.
Let's see. A real estate agent walks into a mansion.
A mansion. Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time, its sound hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards her. Taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in her eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, with the heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. I kinda like it, to be honest. Adds something to the atmosphere. I suppose I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to her, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. The detective from a few days ago, the one Lee mentioned. Just as he's about to jump down from furniture that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? And did he really think it's alright to do that in other people's house? Lout.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My hand's already moving before any rationale can stop me, fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at Lily. She's his friend, isn't she? Or maybe a lover? Doesn't matter. I know his kind follows some form of moral standard. He won't let an innocent be harmed, especially if it's someone he cares about. My finger on the trigger is more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him. But more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. A life's in my hand. His life's in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home. Can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hits the floor and he looks up. He's already a prey, trapped by his own recklessness.
Pathetic. And really, Lily, even you.
Sir, this isn't what you're thinking. Something's going on in this mansion.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please what?
We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight.
Don't worry, I always consider pressing lighter charges if it's a woman I have to deal with in court.
Can't say the same for Feathers here, though. But really now. I swear, people need to stop breaking into my house! This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that. I can't just risk it. The thought of having more dead bodies here, it's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight wave of my own. Even if he knows it's already too late. Alright, might be able to skip here. And I should have also expected he won't let this end in this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse. It's all it is. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. A sound crackling through the empty foyer, almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist no 2 seconds later. Just a graze. However, it is enough to cause my fingers to tense, and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moments happen in a blur. In the following second, I am being tackled bodily to the ground, back hitting the cold floor hard and an arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air. Shrill and sharp enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, seeping into every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they all flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable. Pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull, worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover over this any day. A haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly moves, shouting a name I don't quite hear, and then...
Ashton!
Oh, we get to see this again. In the next second, he falls, down on one knee, desperately trying to keep himself up with what strength he has left. But eventually, his own body caves in. Taking the horrified Lily down with him, muttering quietly to her as something distinctly red flows from his body. Blood? This man isn't supposed to be dead yet. He isn't supposed to. I didn't shoot him, I'm sure of it. So what killed him? What in bloody blazes is going on here? Maybe it's the giant pole sticking out of his chest. Is it so wrong to just want a quiet night where nothing needs attending to? Just one normal night. Quickly, everything has turned crazy with perilous happenings that are hard to explain. But it seems that, when it comes to me, death is always around the corner. I want to look him over. This is going to cause more problems. All this screaming and crying for a detective who's died for no apparent reason is giving me a migraine. I need to get all these people out of my house one way or the other. But in the blurry mess of my vision, none of this registers enough to compel my body to move. Nothing does. Except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord, and when I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
I told you didn't I?
Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment, I wonder if it had been me who had died and not her. After all, that can be the only logical explanation as to why I hardly draw breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation would be that I'm high and this is a really, really bad trip. Either reason doesn't suit me. Though it can't very well be the former. Even from down here, I can see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as if my hands are covered in them once more. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
But let's be honest here. Any explanation, any reason as to why a dead woman walks once more is a bad one to me. Especially when it's one that I've killed. I mean, how, even?
How can this be? You're...
Do you not find my presence desirable anymore, my love?
What sort of sick joke is this?
Tell me what's wrong, my dear prince. Does my presence leave you so speechless?
She says with a smile on her face, tiff and forced. A dead body's parts doesn't seem as malleable as they would be on a living human. She takes a step forward and her movements are stiff and choppy. Like a corpse being forced into position despite the rigor mortis. Like the corpse that she should be. I find my voice once more when she takes a careful step forward. Just the thought of that thing approaching just makes my skin crawl. She stops to listen, fixated on my voice and on my words.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to be here. You can't be here. You're dead.
The "I killed you" is left unsaid, considering present company.
And I have returned.
Hannah?
For you.
For me?
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me? We would have been so beautiful.
I can still hear her pleas as she begs me not to be rid of her. Not once have I forgotten this particular crime of my own. No matter how much I wash my hands, I can still see her blood on them. She's dead. This is an irrefutable fact, and nothing short of the devil would bring her back.
Why are you acting this way, my love? Does this not make you happy?
I feel like there's something lodged in my throat, and my heart feels like it's being sat on with how tight my chest feels.
Of course I'm happy to see you again, Hannah. Of course, I love you, Hannah, but...
the high pitch. I love you, Hannah!
How do I know you're... How do I know you're you, darling?
Whatever do you mean? You look perturbed. Why not come here? I can make you feel better.
If by act of some malevolent god she was back, I don't think she would take too kindly to what I had done to her. This certainly isn't what I would expect. Not the fixated gaze or these loving words. There is no accusation in them, no anger, where Hannah has every right to look at me so. My guilt is overshadowed by the oddity of these illogical circumstances.
No. Stay where you are. Stay back. Don't go near me. Don't touch me.
Oh boy. Well, this is playing out differently already. Let's see. To his horror, Hannah, or what used to be her when she was alive, reached out for him, calling him to come to her side. Terrified, Luke recoiled. It was then when the whole house shifted before his eyes. It is that rejection which turns her expression absolutely fearsome, and everything turns to complete and utter shite. Just you and me now, Bella. Hannah's body shudders and shakes, as if she's about to have a seizure, until her visage ripples and changes. Golden yellow hair is slowly stained with inky black, and her face melts into that of the woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Did you change the body, or did you just, melt the body? What happened there? Along with it is the shifting of the very ground we stand on. It's a slow thing. A whisper, more than a bang, as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls, and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it is just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and the lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere, echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voice that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
Help! Please!
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. At the sight of it, Lily trembles, hugging herself closer. Brave of her, though, I have to admit, to not just run at the first sign of trouble. I'm not sure how she can even keep herself together, having witnessed the death of a friend. Or is he a lover? Not that she has any other choice in this. There seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you?
Stay away!
No. Stay away! Stay away!
I'm not afraid of you, you spook!
Aw, Becca.
This is one Scotswoman you aren't getting into an early grave without a fight!
No! She's here! You've got to let me out! She's gonna kill me!
Interesting.
Someone! She's...
We would have been so beautiful. Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
Marianne.
I'm sorry.
Their screams fill the mansion. Whew, that got me. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there is nothing but silence, her horrid smile, and pale hands reaching out to me. Calling, beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified. I really am, like I should be. But I've never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There is no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood you shed. The very same one that now taints this house, along with many others.
I did not do this, you lie! I did nothing!
What of her, then? Your wife. Your sunshine. Doesn't her blood already stain these halls? Stain your hands?
She's lying!
The words sound so familiar. Just a few days ago, I've spouted the same ones of that vile woman who ruined everything. If it weren't for that munter, that harlot, but it's no use. A seed has likely been planted in already. Defending myself, especially against the likes of her, is pointless. Yet I still continue. I'm not even sure why. I can easily dispose of her now that she knows. Somehow proving this vile creature wrong seems to have heavier weight than the former.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Now you deny it. Pointing fingers, aren't we? You see, my love. No difference. No difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes? Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
She, the monster, reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct. Stumbling back, one step at a time, in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. There's nothing for me here. Not anymore. Nothing to keep tied to this place. With Hana gone, Stroken likely taken by this woman as well, nothing's left to bind me to this wretched city. I can leave. I can... My foot steps on something, sending me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again from the open house. Though it feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat, what with recent events. It must have fallen from the detective in the commotion earlier. And with its owner having met a gruesome death, now it simply bears its equally grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I won't give her the chance. I am not dying here. I certainly am not giving myself to a hideous creature like her either. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panic gasps and worried glances from Lily, I pay her no mind as I reach for the main door and... Without warning, the door slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I am expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
Alright, well what's gonna happen with the two of you stuck in here? There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I am reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement. Using it as a way to put distance between me and this peasant. Who knows what Lily can do to me, now that she knows what I've done. There's only two of us in this room. She can easily do anything and the world will not know. Of course, I can easily overpower her. She doesn't look like she can hold a fight on her own. But what if she's in cahoots with the creature? Fuck. I cannot trust her not to turn on me. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while she huddles in a corner. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why, even Hana has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she's stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything. Everything that I've built has fallen apart.
You! This is all your fault! If I'm dying to this bloody curse, I'm taking you down with me!
Please, sir, you have to calm down. Things might get worse if we start turning on each other.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, for this letter, none of this would have happened! Hana would still be...
Please stop!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She has never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. If anything, that meltdown she had during the open house had only proven my assumptions. Until now. Quietly, she squares her shoulders and stands before me, cutting whatever scathing words I've yet to hurl at her. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my own mum would look at me. Particularly when I've done something wrong. And it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably, to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees me now as a child and not a mature adult, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees me. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension is lifted from the room.
Listen to me first! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick around the room, as if she's trying to avoid looking at me. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling me? Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
You know something and you better have an answer for me.
Oh, that's scary. She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damned paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir! I know the paper's useless, okay? Those people they mentioned in the news lately, all those who died, my co-workers, the open house clients, none of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know, sir. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
And yet we're both here. Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. Maybe it's this place that's the problem. Maybe it's this we should be getting rid of. Burn it, or something.
What? No! We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this!
Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have a trespasser on my property, she's also an arsonist!
How dare she suggest something like that? Bloody peasants! My head's already aching just listening to her. To think this is all the solution she can come up with. I should have just stabbed her and made a run for it. It doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. Well, that went about as well as I expected, between the two of them. Furious, paranoid, and trapped in the mansion with someone he barely knew, Luke Wright threatened to take her down with him. Luckily, before the hysterical man could harm anyone... The voices have become louder, and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. And she may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually, she'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Better find a way out of this place as soon as possible if I want to stay alive. Fuck, I still have so much to do. Our only choice doesn't seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shite about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors, with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, she suggested it. I am going to regret this, I will. But with these cries growing louder, this has become the easiest decision I have ever made. I'm getting tired of hearing her sobbing, really. It's just irritating. Isn't she getting tired of it? Besides, someone has to act fast, think fast. And what else is the root cause of our problems but this place where the letter was found? No need to make things more complicated. It started here, why won't it end here? If what Lily has said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before someone thinks of putting this blasted place up in the market. When I get out of this place, I swear I'm suing a bunch of people. Run that estate company to the ground if need be. We spent millions, damn it! Millions! With a sigh, and perhaps a heavy heart, I opened one of the drawers in my study table. Okay, so I don't even get the choice between the letter or the mansion. He's just like, fuck it, burn it down! Taking a bottle of liquor out for myself, then passing it on to her. She accepts it, but not without a look of protest or a confused glance my way. Even more when I pop the cork off the bottle and pour its contents on the floor.
Well, what are you waiting for?
We waste no time dousing the whole room, the smell of alcohol filling the air. If I didn't know any better, I'd say she's more than eager to set this whole place on fire. And the blaze catches easily in this room when I set it alight, using the blasted paper as kindling. With the whole place drenched with wine and all manner of things alcoholic I've been hiding from Hana, the small fire soon turns into an inferno. In a matter of seconds, we're out the door. It doesn't exactly lead where I'm hoping it will. Although, ending up in the kitchen does give us more reason to play like a bunch of pyromaniacs. Fishing the liquor stocks from the cupboards, we also do the same thing we've done to the study. Door after door, in every room we pass. This noise in the background. Pouring bottle after bottle of expensive aged liquor and setting everything on fire, only leaving once the blaze has started in earnest. When we run out of liquor, we simply drop the bottle and take one off from many nooks I've stashed one. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered-down kind. Gifts from a distant relative, friends, so-called friends, you name it. I've made sure there's always one within reach. Hana had called me out on this numerous times before, telling me of the same thing. I've always told her she doesn't know the half of it before completely dismissing her concerns. Worrywart, that woman. Turns out it'll be useful now. Not to drown out my sorrows, but for this. Wonder of wonders. Though I suppose I can now say it has also saved my life. But there's no time for some introspection now, because with each room we pass and burn, the place also becomes easier to navigate, as if it's slowly righting itself, returning to what it's supposed to be. Soon we finally find ourselves standing before the main door. The strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the doors of the rooms we've previously torched, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. The blaze has also started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. Fittingly, that is when she appears again before us, watching us from the top of the stairs while her world goes up in flames around her. However, what catches my eyes is that expression on her face. Not the vile smile I've already grown accustomed to, or the one where her eyes gleam with complete hatred. This one? Forlorn is the only word I can think of to describe it.
No, please. Help me. Help me, please.
Can the dead still feel? Can she hear us? Or is that merely another one of her tricks to trap us in this nightmare? Like this, however, she seems almost like the woman she used to be. I have to remind myself she's no longer Hana. The woman I loved is gone, and who stands before me is nothing but a pale imitation of who she used to be. And I don't waste any time pondering over it. Not with the exit just a few steps away. The doors finally open, and through it I can glimpse the world outside. Safety. However, I do turn, if only to see the last of her. A farewell more than anything. For all her attempts to lure me, draw me in, her wishes to be with me, she does not stop me when I finally run from this horrid place. Quietly, she disappears. Watching a multi-million-pound house burn before me, for some reason, nothing about this bothers me. Maybe it's that one last look on her face that has changed it. Maybe it's what I've seen and heard inside. There's only a calm, a stillness. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside, and with it is the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxburn's countryside. Nearby the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, a passing draft that carries even into the room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance I can hear the soft chirping of birds while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. We are free. What a duo to make it out of there. Despite initial protests, Luke agreed with Isabella Santos. He began dousing the place with alcohol and setting it on fire. Sure enough, as flames slowly engulfed the place, it returned to its original state, freeing them. Outside, at the first light of dawn, the mansion burned to the ground before their eyes. It's over. Alright, epilogue time. I'm just gonna save here so I can look at the tree after. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxburn City after the incident. Officers who investigated it have simply deemed it an unfortunate accident, resulting in the deaths of innocent lives. Regardless of the truth, Luke Wright files criminal charges against Briar Realty Corporation after, for undisclosed reasons to the public, forcing the latter to declare bankruptcy. A move that has merely stoked the rumors further. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood. Of cries and wails that fill the night and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who once tread its halls... Okay. Yeah, I'll just read this. Although Luke Wright has won his legal battle with Briar Realty Corporation, another tech leak places him and Wright Enterprise under the spotlight months later. This time, however, with the then Chief Inspector Harvey Lee's sudden absence, the businessman isn't able to escape close scrutiny. In an investigation headed by the newly appointed Chief Inspector Abigail Harris, all of Wright Enterprises' illegal business dealings within the past 10 years come to light. Thank you, phone, for the badoop-badoop. Although his involvement with other crimes is still being investigated, Hannah Wright's death in particular, the disclosure has caused a huge outcry, especially from the city's business sector. Sued on multiple grounds, the company is ultimately forced to shut down. Meanwhile, to avoid public outrage, the once affluent businessman immediately leaves the city. All of his bank accounts have been emptied, including his Luxburn apartments, leaving not a single trace or clue where he might be hiding. The last anyone has seen of the man was on a flight bound for Ireland. Till this day, no one has heard from him, even his people from the old Wright Enterprise, who have all been left to deal with the aftermath. Though over the past few months after the situation has calmed, some have made claims of spotting him flitting in and out of the city. If only to check on those he has left behind. Ah, Ennui. Isabella Santos leaves Luxburn City a month after the furor over the incident. Furor? Has died down. Yes. Returning home to the Philippines, broken and scarred despite her smiles. Regardless of her family's encouragement to take up art again, she refuses. Never picking up the brush again, afraid of what she might create with the images having never left her. Even with her dreams, she chooses to live a quiet life supporting them, though they already have more than enough to keep them afloat for years. She rarely speaks of what happened at Luxburn. Perhaps the only time she has ever done so are during her visits to her father's grave. But on nights when rain bursts from the evening sky, above its steady beat against her window, sobs can be heard behind the closed doors of her room. Along with 3 familiar names, and an apology their owners will never hear. Alright, there you go. And I don't need to see Kylie have her neck snapped. Thank you very much. Wow, poor Bella. Somehow Luke came out on top of all that. That boy. I don't know how he does it. That's not what I wanted to do. Leaf. Okay, we got to 19%. Nothing's 100, but Marianne and Bella are pretty close now. Look at that. That's pretty alright, really. Okay, there's one. And a couple there. And then this, which is like her 3rd ending. Okay. Hana got it to 89%. So there's a whole... this is the open... This is also connected to her 3rd ending. That's good. We got a lot of hers done. Zachary's at 84. Lock stuff down below. There's a whole tree here that hasn't been started yet. One up there. A couple up there. Some down here. Okay, there's a bottom thing there. There's still a fair bit with Zachary. Some lock stuff there. Okay. Mary Ann McCulloch. We are nearly done with you. Got like one more thing there. Is that gonna be the... Okay, there's a couple. haven't done the one with Hana there. I could have knocked that off this round. Well, I'll do that next time. Okay. Becca. Okay, skipped a lot of stuff there. Maybe we unlocked a couple of things. I'm sure we did. I should look at these numbers next time before I start it. Okay. Next time it says Zachary, so that'll be some more stuff. And then all of that got skipped. The middle line is still not something that we've explored yet. Okay, I think this is whether we have a good relationship with Ashton or not. And I wonder what that is. Okay, Ash is now at 56. So, that's pretty good. I think we got from 11% on Luke's route to 19. So that's a pretty good chunk. It's a fairly big story update. It's hard to... So we skipped a big portion again. Just skipped all of that. And then... Okay, we unlocked a new one here. Interesting. Good, good, good. Okay, so I unlocked like some new nodes that we haven't done before, but man, there's still so much locked stuff. Then we skipped a whole bunch, then we met back up top, went back down, did a down one instead of an up one, whatever that is. Went up again instead of down. Oof, man. I'm definitely gonna need that node walkthrough to get through here and look at all the different... There's so many story updates, I don't even know how you figure that out. Alright, and then Luke. Bottom is still locked. But let's see. Okay, lots of butterflies there. Then we go up instead of down. Then we skipped a bunch of stuff. Again, skipping a bunch of stuff. Oof. Then there's just a ton of stuff here. I don't know what all of this is. Okay, at some point, we finally broke down and I guess started working on some stuff there. But then we go up again. And then we just skip everything till the end, it looks like. What are all those even? Alright. Well, there you have it. Our run of Bella and Luke. I guess having one person alive meant that Luke also survived. So technically 2 people lived there. Which is interesting. I wonder if Luke always survives as long as one other person is alive with him at the end. Well, I guess we'll find out. But anyway, well, there was some sadness to be had for sure, especially concerning Ash and Bella. It got me choked up, I will admit. But next time, we are going to do a run where Hana survives. So hopefully you will join me for that. Thanks again for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And until the next run, I will see you later.